The sound of rustling leaves and the gentle hum of the town accompanied Amber as she walked down Maplewood's quiet streets. The soft golden sunlight filtered through the trees, casting dancing shadows along the sidewalk. Each step she took felt lighter, as if the weight of her city life was slowly being lifted with every breath of the cool autumn air. Her mind replayed the morning's conversation with Sam at the diner. There was something about him, something she couldn't quite place. The way he effortlessly moved between cooking, tending to customers, and interacting with his children struck her. He was steady, grounded in a way she hadn't encountered in a long time, and the way his eyes softened when he talked to his kids tugged at her heart in a way she hadn't expected. Amber found herself wandering toward the edge of town, where the trees grew thicker, their branches forming a colorful canopy overhead. The houses became more spread out, their porches adorned with pumpkins and wreaths of fall leaves. A quiet stillness blanketed the area, as if the town itself was inviting her to stay a little longer to soak in the calmness she had been desperately craving. She eventually came to a small park, complete with a few benches and a stone path winding through a grove of trees. Amber took a seat on a bench beneath an ancient oak, its leaves a vibrant mix of orange and red. She watched as a couple of children played nearby, their laughter filling the air. The simplicity of it all, the park, the families, the sense of community, was everything she had been missing. Pulling out her phone, Amber scrolled through her emails, her inbox cluttered with messages from clients and colleagues, each one a reminder of the life waiting for her back in the city. She sighed, shutting off her phone and tucking it back into her coat pocket. Why did the thought of returning feel so heavy? Her thoughts drifted to Sam again. His diner, bustling yet calm, had a certain magic to it. It was the kind of place where people gathered, not just to eat, but to share their lives. The kids who had burst in that morning, laughing and calling for their father, had only solidified that feeling. There was life in that little diner, a life that, for some reason, Amber felt drawn to. Lost in thought, Amber didn't notice the footsteps approaching until she heard a voice beside her. "Mind if I join you?" She looked up to see Sam standing there, his hands tucked into his jacket pockets, his familiar warm smile playing in his lips. Amber blinked in surprise, but then scooted over on the bench, gesturing for him to sit. "Of course," she said, smiling back. "What brings you here?" Sam sat down the bench, creaking softly under his weight. "I like to take a walk around the park when I get a break. Helps clear my head. You?" Amber glanced around, the leaves swirling in the breeze. "I was just wandering. This place is beautiful. It's hard to stay inside when everything out here looks like a painting." Sam nodded, leaning back against the bench. "Maplewood's got a way of sneaking up on people like that. It's quiet, but it's the kind of quiet that sticks with you." They sat in comfortable silence for a few moments, watching the leaves flutter down around them. Amber could hear the distant laughter of the children in the park, the soft rustling of the wind in the trees. She could feel herself unwinding, the tension that had knotted her shoulders slowly ebbing away. "I have to admit," Amber said, breaking the silence, "I didn't expect to like it here this much. I thought I'd spend a couple of days, take some pictures, maybe write a little, but now I'm not so sure I want to leave." Sam turned his head to look at her, his expression thoughtful. "It's got that effect, doesn't it? You came for a break, but you start thinking maybe you could stay." Amber nodded. "Exactly. It's like there's more to this place than I realized." "Maplewood's simple, but it's honest," Sam said quietly. "It's not perfect, but it's got a good heart. That's why I stayed after everything." His voice trailed off, and Amber didn't miss the way his jaw tightened ever so slightly, the hint of something unspoken. She turned to him, her curiosity piqued, but not wanting to overstep. "Everything?" Sam glanced at her, then back at the trees. "My wife, she passed away a few years ago. It's just been me and the kids since." Amber's breath caught in her throat. She hadn't expected that. "Sam, I'm so sorry." He shook his head. "It's all right. It was hard for a while, but Maplewood's been good to us. It's a small town, but people look out for each other. My kids, well, they're resilient, and the diner, it keeps me busy, gives me a purpose." Amber nodded slowly, understanding now the weight she had seen in his eyes. He had been through so much, yet here he was, still standing, still caring for his children, and running his business with a quiet strength. "I can see that," she said softly. "You've built something really special here, Sam." Sam smiled again, but this time it was softer, more reserved. "Thanks. It's not much, but it's ours." Amber felt a flutter of something in her chest. Sympathy, admiration, and maybe something more. The more time she spent with him, the more she could see the depth behind his calm demeanor, the layers of someone who had lived through grief and come out the other side with a heart still capable of warmth. As they sat together in the park, the colors of fall swirling around them, Amber couldn't help but feel that her stay in Maplewood might just be the beginning of something more than she ever imagined. If you like this chapter, please feel free to share, comment, and like. Don't forget to follow and subscribe, and stay tuned for Chapter 3. Thank you so much.